The following program is brought to us by Executive Leaders Radio.
You're listening to Executive Leaders Radio. This is your host, Peter Schwartz, along with my co-host, Phil Horegi from Sabre Systems and Andrew Burkich from the Bank of America. And we have a great lineup of guests for you today, including Lynda Mann, co-founder and president of the board for the Youth Quest Foundation, John Hellerman, partner, Hellerman and Barrett's Communications, Mark Isaacson, president and CEO of Village Green Apothecary, and Arthur Lafianatis, the managing partner, and Richard Vernon, founder and co-chair of the Employee and Labor Group for Lurch, Early, and Brewer. First up is Lynda Mann, co-founder and president of the board, Youth Quest Foundation. Welcome, Lynda.
Thank you.
What is the Youth Quest Foundation?
Well, we started as a grassroots organization focused on the problems that are facing our youth today. Particularly, we're focused on the high school dropout problem. 30% of our kids drop out of school every year. It's an epidemic, and it's been that way since 1970. And coupled with the fact that 70% of our prison population is made out of high school dropouts, we're trying to work that equation to solve that problem.
That's amazing. When did the foundation get started?
Well, we started raising funds in a small way in about 2002, and in 2006 we filed for our 501c3 status with the IRS.
Okay, and how did you get involved?
Well, actually, Alan Cage, who is the other co-founder, and I were working with an at-risk program, and they needed funding. They weren't going to go to an academic event because they didn't have money for a bus. So we decided we could raise that money, and it just sort of grew from there.
Uh-huh. And what makes this so interesting to you?
Well, we're passionate about trying to make a difference in the lives of these kids who drop out of school. About only 23% of the 30% that drop out are able to get into an adult program to get a GED after the fact. So we want to reach out to those kids who are at a dead end and help them find a way to be productive citizens.
Productive citizens means what? Just a skill?
Yes. Actually, our big dream, our vision, is to build a job skills training center where they can come to learn skills that will aid in filling what is actually an empty pipeline in the skilled trades right now. So we find that, like plumbers and electricians and those kinds of things, that pipeline is empty and it's aging out. And for these kids who are not college bound, this is an excellent place for them to go to become productive and to allow them to find a career and find the American dream.
Yeah, it sounds to me like they would be learning more than just a trade. What else would these young people be learning?
Well, we want to focus on something that's character-based. For example, when the employers are looking for kids coming out of these programs, they're not looking at somebody who's going to come in at the apprenticeship level, but somebody who could be a future foreman. We're focusing on things like work ethics, like coming to work on time, that they're drug-free, that they understand that they need to expand their skill sets in order to move up the ladder in their chosen profession.
Great.
Take us back to the early years. What is it that gave you this motivation to fill this niche?
Well, I came from a pretty dysfunctional family situation. My mother was a high school dropout, and we know that high school dropouts beget high school dropouts. My sister's also a dropout, so I wanted to do something different for myself. What I did was I left home at an early age. I actually joined the military. That was a great out for me. It gave me the opportunity to expand and grow and extend my education because I couldn't get that from my home environment. And that just took me to greater places.
Lynda, was there an influence in your life that sort of like led you to take a different path? As you mentioned, there's a strong history that the future sort of like the past repeats itself, but you chose a different path. Was there anybody in your life that influenced you to maybe seek this path?
Well, I've always been curious, and I've always wanted to do things that they told me I couldn't do. And in the military, there was a woman who was the director of the Women's Army Corps. She was the 8th director, and she became a great friend to me later in my life. And she taught me that I can't do everything, but I can do anything. And so when I look at this building a job skills training center, that's huge. Not only do I want to build the center, but I want to make it a model so that we can replicate it across the nation. So I can do that thing. I can reach out and I can make that happen with the help of the volunteers in our organization who also see this vision that we can provide a place for kids to go who want to turn their lives around.
Talk to us about your years in the military. What was really great about that, and what did you discover about yourself?
Well, I discovered that I could do just about anything that you put in front of me, and I didn't know that when I went in. When you find yourself in a situation where you're in the jungles of Panama and you're in a situation where you have to be able to understand the environment, understand the community, be curious about how you can help. I was working on a road building exercise down there, and we were working very hard to create a situation where people could get to medical care that didn't have it. So you can reach out to communities, you can reach out to make the world a better place, and be able to do that in a way that is moving forward. It's looking out to the future, and that's always been important to me.
I'm curious about the direction you took as a young girl. It could have gone in a number of directions, like you said earlier.
Yes.
You could have been a dropout. Why not? Why did you pursue the dream that you had?
I guess it goes back to that idea of being curious, that of always wanting to do the thing that I was told I couldn't do. Joining the military was not a popular thing for women at the time that I joined. And so when you tell me that I can't do something, that's the thing that I want to take on. That's the thing that I want to embrace and find out about how I can make that come to fruition.
So this curiosity and this desire to try and do things you've never done before, did you have help along the way outside the family? Is there a mentor or a significant influence you could point to that kept the light alive or the flame alive for you?
Well, I think that there are several touch points. Some of those were at a very high level. I remember listening to John Kennedy say, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And that resonated with my generation. And also that, we can put a man on the moon at the end of this decade. Well, if he can do that, we can certainly build this job skills training center.
Great. What's your greatest success at Youth Quest? Is there anything you can point to?
Well, I think our greatest success is that, we raise funds for these programs, but I think our greatest success is bringing kids to events so that people can see where their money goes. We want them to be able to see the young person stand before them and say, tell them the story about how they were involved with drugs and they dropped out of school and now they've turned their lives around and they're moving forward. And those are just wonderful stories. And I think those are the kinds of things that keep us moving. It's that grassroots piece. It's a big amount of money. It's a big dream. It's a big vision. But it's all about the kids.
Lynda, can you talk a little bit about some of the different experiences and maybe compare and contrast the, I'll say, a military organization, and you've worked in the private sector, and in Youth Quest you have predominantly a volunteer organization. So each of those sort of like represent their own challenges. Can you talk a little bit about the different types of challenges you face in each one of those environments?
Well, I think that when you look at challenges particularly, I think you have to look at whether you're approaching it from what perspective you approach it from, whether it's in the military or in the commercial environment or even in the foundation, is what can we achieve? What is it that we can take from the past that's worked really well for us and take it in the future and then dream about that? What possibilities exist and what can we do to engage people to make that happen? Because engagement is so very critical, particularly now in the business environment where the economy is impacting certain places. Engaged people embrace a strong vision and they move toward that regardless of the economy. And so that's what we focus on, is basically an appreciative inquiry perspective that we want to be positive about what we do.
I understand you have an event coming up that you wanted to share with us.
Oh, yes, we do. It's our signature event. It's going to be a golf tournament held on the 23rd of August, and it's going to be at Trump National, which is a fabulous place. If you haven't been out there since the renovations that Mr. Trump has brought to the Washington area, it's absolutely wonderful. wonderful. And you can visit our website. We would love to have people come and see this wonderful wonderful place and participate in this great event. Our sponsors get great visibility. We have some celebrities coming to play, so you'll have the opportunity to hit a round of balls with somebody that you may not have the opportunity to do that with. We had Bruce Boudreau last year and Larry Brown, and so Redskins have been very generous with their alumni support, and we have I think somebody from the Wizards this year, one of the coaches. So it's very exciting. We'd love everybody to come out and spend some time with us.
So if you've captured the imagination of someone listening in who would like to maybe help out, what kinds of things could volunteers do?
Well, our volunteers do a variety of things. The first thing that they can do is help at events. That's usually the entry point where they come and learn about the way that we interface with our sponsors, because we try to make it special. A lot of people want money, and obviously we do too. So we try to make our sponsors feel special in that process. But we also want the participants that are there to feel special as well. But sponsorship is critical for us. So volunteering in some way to help the organization move forward by speaking about our organization, about reaching out, becoming part of our senior network, sitting on an advisory board. We're putting together our labor relations board to assist us with building the Job Skills Training Center, because it's important that we have the right professional organizations affiliated, but also to help us advise our board about how we can reach out and make this a premier organization.
Okay. And two quick questions. We'll want our audience to be able to find you guys through your website, but first, before that, what's your proudest moment up till now?
My proudest moment is when I see the eyes of a child who's been helped by what we do and know that we're doing the right thing.
Wonderful. And the website address, Lynda?
www.youthquestfoundation.org.
Thank you, Lynda. We've been speaking with Lynda Mann, the Executive Director and President of the Board for the Youth Quest Foundation. Don't forget to visit our website, executiveleadersradio.com, to learn more about our executive leaders. I want to thank our co-hosts, Phil Horegi from Sabre Systems and Andrew Burkich from the Bank of America. This is Peter Schwartz, your host. We'll be right back after this important business spotlight.